I like this
So
topic.
excited to be here and really to talk about this topic. What we're going to do is kind of make it a working exercise. So if anybody wants to do it with their nonprofit, we'd love to do this.
Yeah.
Um, hey, chats down below, Q&A, stay to the end and win. We're going to give something away, a trip that you can use to raise more money. Jason
Mhm.
Ledlow, my partner, Trevor Nelson. We're so excited you could be here today.
Yeah, super cool. Episode 109. We were just talking about episode 110. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
110, sneaking up on us. How wild is that? So never in our wildest dreams would we have thought this would happen 110 weeks in a row, 109 weeks in a row. So really, really cool. Thanks to
Well,
everyone.
we've missed a couple. We have missed a couple for holidays, but
Well, yeah, I was gonna
like
say,
two, I
well, no,
think
you're right.
three, we've missed three in the last 2 years. So
Christmas and Thanksgiving,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
So
Well, when we started this, um, we really didn't think that we were going to, we didn't know what to expect. We just made up our mind we were just going to do it and see what happens. And the relationships that have come out of this and the response that we've got, it's really been incredible. And so we're real happy to be able to do this, talk about this topic. And if you've got some feedback for us, we'd love to hear it. If you're watching the recording of this, seeing this on YouTube, please give us a comment down below. We really love to get the feedback, good, bad, and different. We want to hear if you hear something that you think is you guys are off base, you don't know what you're talking about. We want to hear that too, because really what we're doing is we're just trying to share our experience that we see dealing with, last year we worked with over 800 nonprofits and 800 different events. So we get a lot of information, stuff that works great, some stuff that doesn't work so well, we hear about. So we try to just share that way you can do it, because we know you work so hard. But last week we were in Dallas. We did our very first ever boot camp. And it was a fundraising exercise. We got great feedback from it. We had great information. It was just it was a really great time to have people there
really
and
nice.
really digging in. And what we found is what we always believe is that everybody in the nonprofit world, if you're a staff professional, if you're working doing these events, you guys are all coming up on the same stuff. It really is the same struggles, the same issues. So you guys are, if you feel like you're alone and golly, so and so's doing their event and they don't have this problem, they do. Everything that you're feeling going through, you do. But I want to give you encouragement to say people are doing well. So when you put things in practice, get your follow the basics, remember the math, people are having extremely good results. So Trevor, we're going to talk about how to talk about how to tell somebody about your mission in 10 words or less.
10 words or less. Yeah.
And that was pretty interesting when we did this at boot camp, wasn't it?
It was, because we came we're not being judgmental or disparaging in any way, shape, or form, but interestingly enough, we had multiple people from the same organization in attendance. And what we found is how difficult it is to get everyone on the same page as far as conveying that message. And so we came up with an exercise. I say you came up with an exercise where it was, can you give us your mission, not statement, but can you convey the work that your mission does, that your organization does, in 10 words or less? And it was a really cool exercise because we got to roll up our sleeves, listen to people. And then I had, what was this? The cutest thing ever was we had an attendee by the name of Teresa that would grab me in between sessions and in between breaks and whatnot. And she'd go, okay, Trev, here you go. What do you think of this? And she'd hit me with it because she was working on it, because it was impactful. It stuck with her about how important it is. And then we said this, which was, if everyone can get on the same page and convey that message of your mission in 10 words or less, and it's all succinct and all going in the same direction, how powerful that really is, right? Like that was we uncovered that with working with all the folks we had the opportunity to work with. And now we continue to do it. We continue to do it over and over and over again. And
well, it's something we work with people all the time on.
all the time.
Yeah,
all
but
the time.
so let's give you a couple of examples. So many years ago, one of my dear friends had a company that was very unique. It was a digital learning class, and they would literally, and he would say, hey, I'm Peace, And if he introduced himself, I'm with Digital Tutors. We teach people how to make movies and games. That's all he would say. Because what they would do is like CG animation, all the things that you see Pixar Studios, Disney, all these different things, this incredible stuff they're doing. Well, you got to know how the animators would have to know how to do that. So if they wanted to make a toaster dance, how do you make a toaster dance? And so they would go through it and teach these animators how to do this through these courses. Really interesting stuff. And then, I meet Trevor some years later, a few years later. And, one of the first things that Trevor said is, I help nonprofits raise money. We just raise more money.
Yeah.
And we've adopted that and clung to it. When somebody asks anybody in our organization, I'm not going to say we're perfect, but I think if you asked anybody in our organization, if you said, hey, what do you do? Well, I work for HGA Fundraising and we help nonprofits raise more money. That's what we do. We do a lot of things within that. We do webinars, podcasts, we do, conferences, we do free coaching. We also sell trips and experiences that you can raise money. We have a software platform. But if you start trying to throw all that out there with somebody in your first time you meet them, it's kind of just overwhelming.
Yeah.
And, when we're reaching out to people in the nonprofit space, we're trying to start a conversation. We don't need to tell them everything we do, especially when nonprofits say, well, there's like about 19 things that we do. How do I tell people that? Well, you don't. Not an initial introduction.
Less is more.
Say, and so what the challenge is how do we get that message? Because what we found when we did this exercise, we had, and we had, this was more than once, this was across the board, but we had several people. We had one group that had 3 people there. They had an executive director, they had a vice president of the board, and a past president. They all 3 gave us 3 different answers. They were very gracious to be experiment.
Lovely people.
And our point was everybody had the same problem. We had a husband and wife that worked for the nonprofit, and they gave 2 different answers.
Yeah.
So our point was, if you don't have it together as your staff and you can't explain it, how much more difficult is it going to be for your for your board, for your committee, for your volunteers to be able to convey that message? We're taking these boards saying, why don't they go raise more money? Well, they're believing, but they can't communicate it in a way without, they feel like I've got to have a script and all these things that I got to write down. And one of the things that we work with folks whenever they're doing it, if it's for a fundraiser, is to say, let's get this down to where you can tell somebody what it is you do when you go to ask for money. So without any, spending much more time, I'd love to have a volunteer. Maybe Adrian, Calvin, Jennifer, Bev, somebody want to volunteer and come on, and we'll go through what you guys do and see if we can't come up with how to describe what your mission. Again, this is not to replace your mission statement. This is not to say changing what you do. It's just a way to be able to convey this really quick. Mm-hmm. So can I get a hands up? Anybody want to come on? I'm going to have to nominate somebody and pick them. Oh, there we go. Bev. All right.
Cool.
So, Bev, I am going to promote you to a panelist so you can come on.
Jennifer, you're next.
Yeah, and we'll just start with Beverly. So Beverly's going to be coming on here in just a second.
Oh, yeah, I really like this exercise. And what it was something that and there's so many different things unfolded after we were talking to, 20 people in person about it. You know what I mean? It was just so cool. Bev,
you have to accept.
Okay.
There she comes.
Okay.
Yeah, she's coming. There she is. All right. So we're going to ask her to unmute her microphone. And there she's coming. Hey, Bev, how are you?
Hi.
How are you?
Bev, I'm not going to put you on the spot. Can I put your camera on?
No.
Okay, that's fair enough.
I have become accustomed to being visually anonymous.
Not a problem. We're absolutely fine. So, okay. So, Bev, what I know a little bit about what you guys do, that Tour de Vin does, but why don't you just go through this real quick for us? That way, for everybody knows, and then we're going to just distill this down for that way you can get this going.
Okay. Excuse me. Okay, this is a statement promoting our beneficiary.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They help struggling families connect with resources food. So let's change that. We help struggling families connect with food, social, and health resources.
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's 6 words. That's pretty good. So, whenever I think about what somebody's doing, obviously 10 words is the maximum, but that doesn't mean that just because we get it, we got to use all 10. We help nonprofits raise more money.
Yeah.
We help nonprofits raise more money.
Oh, yeah.
6
I
words.
said I got 8 because I added we help to those 6 that you were talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I got over 10.
Well, it's okay. No, I distilled it down to, Bev. We help struggling families connect with vital resources.
Oh, that's good.
I'm just riffing here, but that's where my start is. And then we can always add, we're talking about 10 words or less, but there's geography involved, and things of that nature as well. And in the community, are simple additives and things of that nature. But then that's what opens up the conversation. Struggling family, struggling how? You know what I mean? That's the beauty of this is a statement, but it's very open-ended in a really good way. And Jason laid the foundation for it very nicely by talking about we're just using our example. It's because it could go a myriad of different directions. What we're looking for is to strike with a very powerful, impactful statement about the work that you do when you're talking to someone about, bringing them into the fold and helping, whether it be an ask or as a volunteer or board member or what have you. So I thought that was a very succinct message. And then the big,
so
I'm taking it to my board tonight.
good.
What I would suggest, because we think of everything in the context of fundraising. So I think of everything as what am I going to do to make an emotional impact on somebody when I'm talking to them. So whenever I reach out to Trevor and I say, hey, Trevor, it's Jason. Hey, man, we're doing a fundraiser. It's going to be in 3 weeks. We're raising money to help struggling families connect with vital resources. Okay, well, what's that mean, vital resources? But if I say basic needs, food, shelter, clothing, that really starts, now I get it. Now I'm really doing. So maybe you want to even distill that down to say basic needs, because again, my purpose in trying to raise money is I want them to have an emotional connection, to understand what I do really fast. And then they can decide if they want to ask for more information. Really, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
And then you can start going into it.
I'm no expert, but I jotted down just a couple, just sub points of way we can, interchange words and stuff. And I said, we help families in need connect with vital resources. Cool. We help families in need connect with necessary resources. You know what I mean? Oh, what does that mean? Well, resources tell me more. Oh, what does that mean? Resources that they need that are basic necessities. Those kinds of things. So there's where that conversation can go.
Hey, you all, I can't write fast enough.
No, okay, good. Yeah, because we're just playing with it here. But I really we help families in need. Yeah. And that could be it, but then it can be connect with necessary, absolutely vital resources that they need to survive.
And the whole idea, again, what we're trying to do is to have this message that is simplistic, not all encompassing of everything, that we can use to reach out, connect with somebody that we're talking to in 30 seconds or less, which is, this happens in about 5 seconds in an introduction. And that way they can say, well, I'd like to hear more. And then we can start the conversation, because if you pick up the phone and if I pick up the phone and I said, hey, Calvin, hey, it's Jason. Hey, man, we've got an event coming up in 3 weeks. Love to get you to participate. And then I just go through a litany of things before I even you even get to say hi. You're kind of lost. We've got to let people get up to our speed, get where we're at, have that connection. Again, when we tell people, when somebody asks, Jason, what do you do? Well, we help nonprofits raise more money. Well, how do you do that? Well, we do that a couple of different ways. And then we can start having a conversation, because then people start taking ownership and they start getting involved on an emotional level and an intellectual level. And if we can do that, well, then we can see how they want to connect to help us. That may be that they want to be, underwriting, sponsorship. Maybe they just want to come. Maybe they just want to make a donation. Maybe they just, it was just some information and you're having a conversation. But it allows that to do it. But this is the most powerful thing it does. It gives your volunteers, committees, and boards a simple message that they can have confidence in having a conversation. 90% of everybody I've ever seen surveyed has what's called call reluctance. In other words, if you got 10 people on your committee, 9 of them are going to be scared to death to call somebody and ask for money.
Don't wake up in the morning going, I want to call and ask people for money.
They don't wake up doing that.
Yeah.
So what we've got to do is empower them every way we possibly can in a simplified way that they can do it. Because if you give a 14 line spiel to them, they're going to mess it up. Yeah. And then it becomes canned. It's not them having a conversation.
Yeah. And we're talking about a simple message, simple for delivery, but we're talking about getting through to people, and givers are consumers and donors are consumers, and we're still vying for their attention in a very short period of time. So it's a simple message for delivery's sake, but we want it to be an absolute juggernaut as far as impact for the recipient, right? What they're hearing. Yeah. And that's why I was saying, we all know, struggling family. Okay, I could probably connect the dots on that, but someone's going to go struggling, like they're not getting along at home, but they need families in need. And I think that's a really good message where everyone.
You've got some information now to go talk to your folks about, talk to your board and get them on set. Because, and again, the primary thing is this is just a conversation starter. This is how we get things going. This isn't going to be all encompassing. This doesn't change our mission. Doesn't mean that our mission statement that we spent, 3 years developing over time, over 3 years of time, doesn't take that away. This is just a conversation starter. Bev, thank you so much. I'm going to put you back in the attendee.
Is that helpful, Bev? Did that help?
I've already switched her back, but I hope she can.
All right. Well, let us know. Hopefully that was helpful. It was simple, succinct. I think that's something where you can.
Jennifer, I've got you coming up, so we're going to bring.
Cool. Let's do it. I'm excited about this one.
Hi, Jennifer.
What's going on, Jennifer? How are you?
Hey.
Thanks, right. Jennifer. How are you?
I'm okay.
Welcome to the broadcast.
I got to tell you, whenever I saw your name pop up, I thought it was a really good friend of ours. So Jennifer and Gib are dear friends of ours, and their last name is James in Oklahoma City.
Oh.
So I was like,
I have friends in Oklahoma, but I'm in San Diego. So
right on.
Oh, we love San Diego. Holy smokes.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't? Especially Zonies. I lived in Phoenix for 3 years, so I know.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, excellent. And thanks so much for coming. Tell us about what you do.
So I work for an organization called Crisis House. I'm the events marketing and development manager. And I was really interested in, because I go to all the networking events and trying to boost fundraising and things, but I feel like our complete mission statement is very wordy. And so trying to condense it is my goal. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, give us a synopsis, or maybe give us a mission statement, or give us your.
Okay. Well, so my general spiel is, we actually are we have 3 different divisions of Crisis House. We have our domestic violence services. We provide housing, wraparound services for women and children escaping domestic violence. We also have our homeless outreach program in East County, San Diego, providing them with employment, food, housing services. And then we also have our Camp Hope America program, where we work with the children that are coming out of those domestic violence and trauma situations, providing bi-monthly events for them to inspire hope and in them. And then we also do 2 weeks of summer camp in partnership with the YMCA for those kids that wouldn't be able to go to an overnight summer camp. So, but our mission statement is we respond immediately to break the cycle of domestic violence, child abuse, and homelessness, connect families, children, and individuals to crucial resources that empower them to renew their lives.
Wow. All right.
It's a lot. So
you do a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, Jay, our I want you to start. But what was interesting about the exercise that we did in person with some folks, there was a gal who was lives in Oklahoma City, ironically enough, super sweet. She said, well, we have 14 programs that we fund. And I said, wow. And she kind of caught
That's
me
a
off.
lot.
Yeah. And I was like, wow, that's a big message. And we're trying to convey this very quickly. I said, well, do me a favor for right now. I just said, and if I'm completely going off the beaten path, Jay, you bring me back to earth. But I said, pick one. You know what I mean? Pick the one that you believe in the most, or pick the one that gets folks in the door and that you're impacting immediately. And I just said, kind of pick one. But Jay, tell me where you're riffing from right now too. Beautiful mission, by the way. Beautiful mission.
This is what I think is you got to distill it down, because you've got 3 different programs. So you want to hit the core piece. You know, if I was walking up and I said that, what's the name of your organization?
Crisis House. Everybody
Crisis
thinks
House.
we're a shelter, but
No,
we're
I
not.
get it. No, I understand.
Hi, Jennifer. I'm Jason. I'm with Crisis House. Oh, really? What do you do? We help victims of domestic abuse and homelessness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because oh, really? How do you do that?
Yeah.
We have 3 specific programs. One is that we help women and children escaping domestic abuse. 2, we help provide services and support for homelessness. And 3, we have put on a kids camp for kids in domestic abuse. Those things are really, that's because you're really just trying to get it down. Like you said, you know, you go to a Chamber of Commerce meeting and you go,
Yeah.
hi, my name's Jennifer, and I'm doing this and this and this and this and this, and we do this.
Yeah.
It overwhelms everybody, and they're going,
It's a lot.
yeah, hi, okay.
Well, and the thing is our organization has been around for 53 years and in this like community, and the majority of people have never even heard of it. So that's kind of what I'm.
Got a marketing thing going on here. Yeah.
Well, the reason they haven't heard of it is because the people you're talking to have never suffered from it.
Needed it. Yeah.
They've never needed it. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's
that's what
like
I always say. You don't know about us until you need us.
Until you need it. Yeah.
I like the way you laid that out, Jay. I thought it was really succinct and it's quick, and we're not going to stretch the boundaries of our 10 words or less. And then I thought the way you layered it, and I think, Jennifer, you layered it with domestic violence, women and children. Then you hit the homelessness with employment and housing needs and getting them on their feet, so to speak. And then you talked about Camp Hope and how it's an ongoing education for children. And did you tell us that step by step by design? Because whether you did
that's
or
how
not,
I always lay it out.
I like it a lot. I like it a lot because you got kids at the beginning, right? And they do fall victim. So you know, more often than not, we don't think it affects children directly sometimes, right? But I really like, and for some weird reason, I thought of my wife. So my wife's an educator in a very low income district. And we always talk about it. I said, wow, gosh, it's like, it's generational. Like we always come back to it's generational. No, whatever. And I'm not saying like we're experts about it, but it just seems like children fall victim of generation after generation that interrupts the loop. Yeah. And I thought that when you get an opportunity at one of these networking events for 90 seconds to embellish the mission and the work that you do, I actually think that you come on with, you know, like with the cherry on top is how you interrupt that loop by helping children with these ongoing programs. Yeah. And then from there, Jay and I are going to tell you that, you know, this is how many people we affected, you know, with the opportunity to help, right? This is what we're doing right now. And this is what we're hoping to do. You know what I mean? And so I think those are great layers. That's how I felt about it.
You know, and you know, you could even just put that in your spiel. We help break the cycle of domestic abuse and homelessness. Yeah. Yeah. That's, you know, those things are powerful because everybody goes, well, you know, okay, I can do that. I can go down here and see a homeless guy down the corner and he says, you know, anything helps, God bless. You know, of course, now they're bringing out their kids with them. What Mark jumped up and down the deal, but it which drives me crazy. But you know, so I can do that. But you're breaking the cycle and you're doing those things to do it. So that's a little bit more. So maybe you put that in there. But whatever you do, all you're trying to do is to say something, to have something as you're going out and meeting people to start a conversation. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. You know more about your organization than we possibly could. You know, having those facts, I know you've got them. If we ask you to do that, you'll be able to say, this is what we did, this is what we're doing, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah. nailed
Well, how do
down.
I get involved? Well, let me tell you what we've got coming up. So those
Yeah,
are
well, and that's my
things-
next mission is to revamp
Yeah.
our volunteer program because it went by the wayside during COVID and
It-
everybody
yeah,
wants
well,
to get
you-
involved
every-
now. And I'm like, we
Yeah.
don't have that.
Well,
So
make sure that they're dialed with this message immediately, as in like step one. Like we're
Mhm.
talking to folks now when they're having their first committee meetings and whatnot.
Mhm.
Making sure that everyone's on the same page and you're quizzing them and, you know, listening to their, you know, making sure they have it or typing it out.
Yeah.
I think of it like a business card. I used to have business cards that had my name on it, the logo, and on the back it said raise more money. And I think that you could have your mission, if you think about it, just symbolic. It's your business card with the 10 words or less on the back. It's like boom.
And
you know?
you
I
know,
like it.
less is always more.
Yes.
In this
huge
case,
movement. Yeah.
we break this, you know, we break the cycle, not make it, we help. We break the cycle of domestic violence and homelessness.
I think that'll touch
You make a
people.
definitive statement like that because you have the results that you can do. Now, if you've never done it, you know, I always want to tell people, always speak the truth in anything that you say because somebody's going to call you on it and you don't want to fall back.
Easier to remember
So,
too.
you know, if you've got success stories that you can do that. And I love, and you know, domestic violence is a funny thing. And I say funny, it's not funny at all. It's an interesting thing because I can't sit there and go, well, you know, I've got Trevor Nelson, he was a victim of domestic violence and because of this and this, and, you know, because you can't say people's names, you got to do it. So create a composite. What I recommend, and this is what I talk to other people because I'm a big domestic violence advocate in my community. Create a composite. I've got, you know, let me give you an example. Mary, you know, and you put pieces together of what's happened. Mary was a victim. She had 2 small kids. We were able to get this and this, and this is where this is the outcome. Give a success story because everybody then everybody can make it personal because then they're going to go, oh my gosh, I know a Mary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And then it makes it personal, makes it very,
Yeah.
because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get past, you know, we want to have the intellectual, we want to have the logical part, but we're really trying to get to the emotional because that's when people get involved, when they can feel it. Because people that are involved in nonprofits don't do it for the money, okay? They do it for the emotional reward. Everybody on here, that's why you're doing it. If anybody in here for the money, you guys are in it for the wrong reason because that's just not the way this deal works. I'm just going to tell you. But here's what I want to follow up with, and just when you come up with that message and you start using it, you will get adoption. And you know, everybody goes, well, how do I get everybody to adopt it? I've got to go before the board and do it. You don't have to do any of that. I can tell you how you start off doing it. You just start doing it.
Yeah.
Because this is yours. This is how you're going to relay that. And then whenever you're meeting somebody who's wanting to be a volunteer and you say, we break the cycle of domestic violence and homelessness here in our community. I love when somebody says in our community.
I'm big on geographic myself. Yeah.
That really gets it home. This is, you know, we're not just raising money and we work with national nonprofits and big, you know, things and research and all that all the time. But this is really important because when people hear that we're doing this in our community, that lets them know. So maybe that's what you want to bring that up, because if you say, you know, we break the cycle of domestic abuse and homelessness here in San Diego.
You may have never heard of us, but we've been doing this for 53 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is how many people we've impacted. This is how many children we've had coming through Camp Hope. You know, this
anybody have any feedback? Anybody else that have any feedback for Jennifer on this? Love to hear any thoughts that anybody has.
I think we got some work done. I think that was good. I'm not kicking
Jennifer,
you out.
Was this helpful?
But I thought that was good. Yeah.
Was this helpful?
Yeah, thank you. And you confirmed a lot of the work I've been trying to do with our new program video. I had 3 of our success stories. One of them is a board member and business owner whose son just got into an Ivy League college, and just showing that we broke that cycle. And so,
okay.
Yeah.
And this,
thank you.
because this board member's child is a graduate of Camp Hope.
Of our DV programs, we weren't doing Camp Hope when they were in our program.
And then, but this individual is a business owner in the community and on your board.
Yeah.
We need to get them on the phone and getting more people that are like them to get involved.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. And then one of our other success stories, I just did an event with her last night with her daughter, and with Princess Project. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they give away free prom dresses to girls, and we partnered with them for all the girls in our Camp Book program last night. And
That's awesome.
it was
That's
just,
awesome.
yeah, it's been great. So that's kind of been my
Yeah.
direction. So thank you for confirming
Well,
that
that's
I'm
how,
on the right track.
that's
Yeah,
it. Just, you know, know your numbers,
Those
know what you're
stories.
doing, and just use that, because that's how you start a conversation. You know, it's just, if you were a car salesman or car salesperson, you know, you wouldn't go up and go, well, you know, Chevrolet is GM is the largest manufacturer of automobiles in North America and blah, blah, this. You wouldn't do that. You would just go and
No.
say, well, you know, I sell cars.
Yeah.
And so you want to get into that. So that way, because it's not, you know, it's not all what you know, it's who you know. And the way you do that is having that conversation, building relationships.
It's
Yeah.
who you know and how well you
Jennifer.
know them. And then how long have you been in the area, Jennifer? 3 years, you say?
How long have I been what?
How long have you been doing the job in the area?
Oh, July. I started
Wow.
in July.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh,
I worked for the
What a
fire
fun-
department before this.
Oh,
But I'm a
fire-
local.
Retired firefighter. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I was admin side, but
Yeah. That's great.
yeah, but I'm a local to this area, so it's
Mhm.
been,
Good for you.
Good.
yeah, good to,
Congratulations. Congratulations on the position.
Okay. Well, thank
us a
you
favor,
so much,
reach out
Jennifer.
to
I'm going
us
to put you back as an
anytime.
attendee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Reach out to us
Okay.
anytime you need us, okay? Please do. We're
All
very easy to reach.
right.
Very easy to reach. Best of luck.
Anybody else want to come on? Adrian, you had some great feedback.
Yeah, anybody else? Oh, I wanted to share one, Jay, and I wanted to get your opinion. And I'm not picking on this person, but
Mhm.
this is a disclaimer about how someone reaches out to me yesterday for the first time. And they were referred to us, as a matter of fact, by another client, and they're absolute sweethearts. And this individual said, and let me bring it up real quick. And I want you to, this is a quiz, and I want you to tell me how we feel about this being our mission. My name is such and such, and I sit on the board of directors for such and such organization. We are a 501c3 charity that raises monies for and that was the first line. That was the first line.
Yeah.
So this quiz, what do you think?
Okay. Well, the first thing that I wanted to say is, if you think don't ever tell somebody you're a 501c3.
Please don't. We're just really
assume it.
Please don't ever say that. I'm not picking on this lady. She's a sweetheart.
Well,
but
it's just,
we're typecast in the spot where we feel like we have to say that. And we're giving folks the permission to never have to say that again if you don't want to.
yeah, that's just because you're using up words that people just assume that's what you are. You wouldn't be asking them for money or talking to them about that if you weren't.
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously it just always throws suspicion to me and I say suspicion, it's not right. That's not the right word, but you know, if you're not a 501c3 and you're a 501c4 or something else, and you probably ought to tell somebody that, you know, because you're talking about, usually that's like political fundraising, things like that. But in the world of fundraising, if you're calling somebody and they're talking to them and you're meeting them and you're telling them this is what you do, and they can see that you're in some kind of a service, that you're helping people, they're going to figure that out.
I know.
So don't waste the words on that. It's just don't waste that. So that's my number one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the second thing is, you know, it's just, it's so many words and what they're doing, and, you know, just get it down to simple what you do. Well, talk about what it is what is it that you do?
Yeah, you're not conveying the message. You're not conveying the work of the mission by saying that. So like Jason said, it's just wasted space. And we're also, because I think this is a little bit of a different concept, we're big believers in, in differentiation. I mean, how often do you think people that get those phone calls hear that from other organizations? So be different. Don't say that. They get it.
We literally have people call us and go, "Hi, my name's Fred, and we're a 50, you know, with ABC Charity, and we're a 501c3, and we're raising money for such and such. We have an event on such and such date, and blah blah this, that, and the other." And I'm like,
"You haven't told me what you do."
Yeah, I still don't know what you do.
It's 25 words.
And if I have to ask, what do you guys do? So
well, don't ever get in that position where someone has to ask.
So what we're asking is let's flip those things around.
Yep.
Let's just flip those things around. Let's tell people lead with what we do, then come back and say, this is, you know, who we are, why we're here. We've been here for 53 years, because at that point, somebody's going to do it. Otherwise, you're going to throw up on somebody verbally
And they're
and
done.
they're going to go, yeah, okay. It's like having an Amway salesman knock on your door,
Adrian,
you know, or somebody. It's because we want to differentiate away from that. We don't want to sound like the car warranty person when we pick up the phone and we go, well, hello, Trevor. Did you know that this is a great time to get your car insured? You know, blah, blah. It's just like,
well,
just took me out of my misery.
Adrian brings up a really good point. It's what you accomplish is very helpful. We do this to accomplish that. I think that's lovely. And Adrian, you know, Jason has coined a couple of really, really cool things. I know you can, and I know that you care. I love that one when you're making these asks and telling people about your mission and what you do. But always remembering, this is what we've done, this is what we're doing, and this is what we plan to do. Another thing that Jason said, people like to be a part of a winner. So your accomplishments are huge. What Jennifer was just talking about a second ago with, you know, the videos that she's producing so the community can understand better and they can get the marketing going out there in her community with the work that they're doing. Yeah, you want to be a part of a success. So for sure, convey that. For sure to tell people that we're also big believers in quantifying that and, you know, or qualifying that message with real data, you know, as well. So tell people the accomplishments, tell people, you know, how many folks you've saved, right?
Yeah. And let me give you, I want to just give a brief example of that.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you helped 20 people last year or 2,000. It doesn't matter.
Say it.
You got to say, this is what we did. This is what we did. You know, last year we helped over 200 people overcome homelessness. This year, we're going to help 250 people. And next year, we're going to help 300.
We're ambitious.
And, you know, whatever it is that you're on track to do, and that's how people are able to understand what you're doing. Because they, you know, and it's, when you're going to give money, when you're asking for money, that's also really beneficial because they got to know what in the world you're doing.
Yes.
You know, and then how do I become a part of it? Well, last year we helped over 200 people you know, make their way out of homelessness. This year we're going to do 250. It costs us $500 to serve somebody.
Yep.
Or $100, whatever your numbers are. It doesn't matter. You take the number of people that you and everybody goes, well, you know, it cost 37. I'm going to give you an example. Domestic abuse. They say, well, it's $347 for the sexual assault exam. It's this for the counseling. It's this for the, take it all, lump it all into one number, make it really simple.
$1,000.
You know, that's a conversation you go deep with when you're really, you know, asking for big gifts and they ask the question. And I know he's on here. So Randall Lee is one of our teammates here at HGA, and he at boot camp did a deal with, you know, he said, read the room of who you're talking with. Is the person a doer? And there was things that you could learn about if they're a doer. Are they a thinker? Are they a feeler? Or are they an intuitive? And there were some things about, in other words, if you've got a doer, doers do. They don't have time for 45-minute presentations. Get to the point, tell them what it is, and they're going to make a move. Do something. I'll
make a decision.
You know? And so, you know, it's that whole thing about listening who that person is, reading the room, seeing what's going on, understanding that. But that's a really big thing, because when you're talking to somebody, you know, and we always think of things again in raising money. We helped 200 people last year. It cost us $1,000 a person. Okay, that's 200,000 people. That's 200 grand. It's what you raise. This year we're going to do 250. That means you got to raise 250,000. Doesn't take you don't have to have a calculator to figure that math. It's pretty quick. And you know, how many people would you like to help? Well, I'd like to help 10. That's $10,000. So then they understand what they're getting.
Can we sign you up for helping 10? Yeah. I love that. That's good. Really, really good. Really, really good stuff.
You know, I want to back up. Bev asked a question. She said, when several services are offered, would you ever select one service depending on the interest of the person you're talking to, i.e. 3, 4, 5? Here's what my thought is on this. And I'm going to give you what I believe.
It's a good question.
I think as you're talking to someone, you don't want to just say, well, you know, we do these 13 different things and just see which one rings a bell. You just got to figure out, you know, see, are they hearing what I'm saying? Do they have a heart for this mission in general? If they have a heart for mission in general, then you start asking them, about their experience, they go, oh yeah, you know what? I got involved with such and such, and I used to help so-and-so do this with that. And, or that means a lot to me. I've got a cousin that this happened to, or something. They'll be connected some way to your mission, and that's where you're going to go. I don't, I wouldn't get too bogged down in which way. Just the overall mission is what you're trying to do, especially when you're first having a conversation. Now, if they ask the question, again, we're talking, back to the whole thing about maybe if the person's not a doer, they're a thinker. They want to get all the information. They want everything. They're looking through all this stuff. Then they can make a decision. I'm married to a thinker. She's going to ask 75 questions. She's going to take all this information in, and then she's going to process it, and she's going to be able to come back with something and say, this is what I'd like to do, because, that's just her way. Trevor's a doer. Trevor feels like, see what he's like, yeah, this is something I'm in. I like this. Let's go. And then it's just about how big a play they want to make, how big an impact.
Randall says I'm becoming a sensor because I'm getting better as I get older at listening and with my patients. I just want to let you know, I'm getting better. I just want to encourage you, if you're, when you're, just don't, how do I say this without coming across? Because I don't want to say what don't to do or to do. Sure. I think you just got to see where the conversation goes. For sure. And figure out who you're talking to. If they're asking questions, I'm going to sit there and answer them, because that means they're interested. Okay. 100%. But if they're a doer and they're like, give me the facts, I got 15 minutes, I got a hard stop in 10, but let's go. They're usually going to let you know that pretty quick.
Yeah. They're going to let you know, and you tell them, this is what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, and I always bring back everything in the context of raising money, because that's what we help people do. But if you're out there just talking about your mission, you still don't have to go tell 37 things, because if they're just looking for volunteers, this is what we do. Is this something that you'd like to be a part of? We've got multiple ways that we could see where yours, and then figure out where their talents are. Mm-hmm. If it's a guy like me and pretty much all the talent I have is pushing a broom, well, I need to be on the cleanup committee, not the greeting committee.
We had a really sweet webinar guest weeks and weeks and weeks ago, it was months ago, super sweet. And we were going over a very similar exercise with her, and she worked for a school district, and was telling us that we helped like 25,000, a district with 25,000 kids. And we were trying to distill it down. And then Jason and I asked her, well, what are you doing with the kids? What do you do? Well, we give them, maybe we'll give them a backpack, or we'll, get them clothed or outfitted to play a sport. And we said, okay, cool. You get them outfitted to play a sport, because we were trying to quantify where the money went. And I said, like football, for instance. Yeah. Football. Awesome. How much does it cost to equip a child for a football season? And she said, it's like $250. And we said, that's where you go. You know what I mean? That's it. So we help this many kids in the area, in the community, in the district, this many kids. And we do things like equipping them to go out and play sports, because it gets them off the street. They get involved, they get teamed, they get guidance. It's time, they get attention, and we do that for $250 a child, that kind of thing. So I remember having that conversation with a real sweet webinar guest about that, where we just diluted that down, and we're like, wow, you can run with that. You know what I mean?
And that's something that you all can do with your mission. It doesn't matter. Everybody can come to the same thing. Yes. Get it down to what it is, what it takes to have an impact on somebody, on a person, a family, a kid, an adult, a victim, whatever it is that you're doing. Distill it down to that deal, so you can talk about your impact, what you did. But the first thing is, you got to get people to have a conversation with you. Mm-hmm. And this is the funny thing, without exception, when somebody goes, well, Jason, what do you do? Well, I'm with HJ Fundraising, and we help nonprofits raise more money. Really? Well, how do you do that? Yeah. Now, I will say sometimes they hear that and they go, oh, you help raise money like startups and stuff? Well, sometimes if they're in the nonprofit, we work exclusively with the nonprofits. Sure. Oh, so you're helping charities. That's right, we do. Sure. And so then the conversation is able to go down that road, and we were able to find common ground. We're able to, understand where their experience is. Maybe they say, I used to be involved in a lot of stuff, and I really haven't been. I'd love to get involved again. Mm-hmm. And that's, and that conversation, because that's what we want to do. We want to build a relationship, whether
Yeah.
it's for volunteering, whether it's for donors, board membership. If we're trying to get our board members to engage with somebody, you're trying to get your committee to make those phone calls to call money, and you tell them, hey guys, this is all you have to do.
It's as simple as this,
Yeah.
right? But you
You know,
do it and they adopt it. And the easiest way to get folks to do that is by them seeing you and hearing you and
yeah,
and
it really works.
carbon
Anybody
copy.
else? We've got enough time for one more. If somebody would like to come on and do it, I'd love to. Don't want to miss anybody. And any more questions about this? And if you don't want to come on, you just have a question. We want to get that, because we will be giving away something here in just a minute, and get things rocking.
Big picture stuff. I mean, when it comes to having these conversations with folks and networking and what have you, I'm a big believer in the long game and being patient with these relationships, but the work's on you, and you never know who you're talking to. You know what I mean? You never know where that's going to go. Jason and I have countless stories of that. That it's real life, especially when you're trying to push the mission and grow and fundraise and all the above. You never know who you're talking to. You never know how they've been affected by what you do or someone they know. So just buy into that and play the long game. Even you got to stay in front of someone once a month for 5 years. Just trust the process. I promise.
We had a guest on. We had a
term.
guest on, the CEO of a nonprofit, about a $5 million organization, and she talked about building relationships. And she said, I had conversations with this guy who's a business owner for 5 years.
Yep.
Never gave me a nickel.
Yep.
It was okay. I just kept I just built a relationship. And all of a sudden one day he goes, okay, we're in for 50. Gave him $50,000 to start off, and they became a 6-figure donor.
It was worth it. It's worth it. It's time. That's the one thing, that's the one commodity that you can have. Jason taught me this. It's time. You can give folks your time and attention. Don't ever give up on that, because you don't know where it's going to go, and you have no expectation. You're just giving your time, and you'll be surprised. You'll be pleasantly surprised if you already adopt
Adrian,
that.
that's a great idea. Just put it on, take this little moniker and put it on your email signature. It's a great idea.
Yeah. That's clever marketing, Adrian. I think you could absolutely do that. Like I said, we're not setting business cards out, or I like to call it the refrigerator magnet thing when you get notifications from us or whatnot. Yeah. We're you see us on the refrigerator every day, but the advent of those things are kind of gone, right? The business card and the refrigerator magnet. So absolutely being smart about it and putting it on your email signature would be fantastic. I think it's huge.
Put it in your contact, so whenever you do share with somebody, I mean, I don't even have a business card because I'm in Oklahoma. We work with people all over the country, but I just shoot them my contact and just put all your stuff right there in the contact.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's great stuff. Okay, guys, we're going to wrap things up. Any last questions? We always get you out of here on time. And again, if you got anything out of today, would you please share this? We're going to send a recording out there. Just shoot it to somebody else that you know in the nonprofit world. That's what we love to do, is to get this information out, to let other people see what we're, learn from this, if it's something that could be helpful. And don't forget, tune into our podcast. We put a podcast, Hey Nonprofits, Raise More Money. They're all about 15 minutes. More than that, typically it's one topic. We drill down on it. A lot of great information. We got some great feedback, by the way, from boot camp. Some people, that's how they learned about boot camp. And they said, wow, yeah, they were taking notes from our podcast. We were very flattered by that. So
check us out.
Have some great guests.
Hey Nonprofits, Raise More Money. You can anywhere you consume your pods. But like what Jason said, share the recording with someone. And listen, if you're hearing this as a recording or watching this on YouTube, reach out to us, because we coach people on a daily basis. We have a whole team of folks, as a matter of fact, that coach people, and we can coach you on your message as well. So reach out to us. We're super, super easy to reach. You can click on the free coaching button on our website, hjafundraising.com. So we mean what we say, and we're available to you. So that's fun.
Okay. All right. Well, I've got a winner.
Okay. Who is it?
Jennifer James.
Everybody give Jennifer a big hand. Right on, Jennifer.
All right. You want a trip that you can use for your next fundraiser, and we'll shoot you that information. Courtney will be sending it over to Jennifer, so you'll get that. And we hope that we'll see you guys all here next week, same time.
All right, episode 110 next week, everybody. Same channel, same day. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate
Thank you
coming
all
on and
so
sharing.
much. Really appreciate you coming.
Thanks,
Thank
Jay.
you.
Talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.